Michael, will you lead us in a meditation? This is recording now.
Well, I'm not sure. I've never really done this sort of thing before, and I'm not in the best of health at the moment.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry. Marion, are you open to doing a meditation?
I can try.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'm a very tired, but I can. Yeah, I can try.
Thank you.
Okay. You hear me? Okay.
We can.
So, just take a few deep breaths down to your stomach and try to put your focus on channeling down mother sun energy. Was something I received information about recently, because we also have Father Earth energy, not just Mother Earth, and it's like an imbalance that we need to clear out. So it would be nice for us all to join together and visualize all of us in this group standing in a ring and holding our hands, like joining our forces in protection of this light coming through us and through Soma. I feel that Soma is in the middle of this ring because she needs to only focus on the channeling, and we can, through this ring, focus on protection for ourselves and for her. Like we are joining our forces and we become a union during this transmission, this channeling. And Mother Sun comes through us and goes through our whole system, through our light channel, from our crown chakra to our root chakra and down through earth, all the way to the inner earth, Mother Earth and Father Earth energy. And the Father Earth energy I see as the movement upwards from the inner earth, coming from Mother Earth energy and coming up through our mountains. And the lava from the volcanoes, I feel, is like the Mother Earth energy. So they work together. So we take down the light from Mother Earth, Mother Sun, in connection with Father, Son, through our whole system down to Mother and Father Earth, and the inner core where it's total harmony. We have the inner Earth Sun as well. And we can anchor there. And from there, we can take up this light energy through the Earth's crust and through our whole system, from the feet and the root chakra, through our whole system, this Earth energy, and connect it through our crown chakra up to Mother and Father, Son. And we are in a protected sphere together. And Soma is in the middle of this sphere that we create together around her. So that she can be free from interference. And we focus all our lights in the middle, in the center of this circle, and through the whole ring that we create together. And we can finish off with a few deep breaths again, focusing on that light. I see like a double helix spiral going through the ring in the middle. One spiral going upwards and one downwards. And this is also in everybody, going through our light channel. And I'm just focusing on clearing Soma's channel right now. So that she can connect freely. And I feel that we have a strong energy together. I can feel like a ring of fire that we create in the sphere.
Thank you, Marion.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't know if it's I'm not used to channeling or doing meditation.
Soma was just seeing images very similar to what you were describing seconds or moments before you described them. Spirals and rings and energy and protective energy and the bonds that she has with you. That is very connected, very sisterhood, very past life stuff, even connection going on there. That is very strong, very adamant, very determined. There's a backbone that you both have that is very similar. Perhaps we will share more privately very soon with you. Not everything should be made public.
Interesting.
Last week, we spoke of 6 months, which is still as important as it was then. Being June next year will be an important month. Especially for Soma and Dennis. Many of you are the technology being used upon you has advanced rapidly and at an alarming rate over the last 2-3 years, especially, and is being used by the negative agenda, who are now targeting the lesser known amongst you more. Because they have targeted those who are more public. almost, thank you, almost like a list or a process, or people in waves where they start at the top of the list and work their way down. So they start with the most popular people. They are working their way down the list, and they are now targeting people who are speaking out, but the lesser known ones. So they are Soma is trying to find the words, but they are homing in. They have more or less done people with wider audiences. And now they are using these technologies, which have advanced over the last 2 and 3 years. Oh, there are people on the payroll on the negative agenda within that work for the negative agenda that are in receipt of an actual payroll. And this has increased over the last 2, 3, 4 years. You are evidently seeing that on Earth with technologies that have recently, thank you, come to light. It is much like the negative agenda is homing in on the finer details, the smaller print. That is a very good choice of words that she is using. They are homing in on the finer print, or the finer details, or the finer energies. Meaning this one and people like her that are, we will leave it there. These technologies these negative agendas, these manipulations are also homing in onto your food. Three years ago, we began talking through Soma about communities and growing food. It is now becoming more evident why we spoke of this at the time, about moving into communities and growing your own food. Advances are being made in the negative agenda to bring you food that is detrimental to you. That is grown in laboratories, that is mass produced. That is so toxic that we would go so far as to say that it is deadly poison to your systems. Many of you starseeds have DNA coded into you, codes within your DNA, rather, that are able to bypass these foods, or the foods that you had up until recently, that you are well aware, as Soma is, that contains toxins and chemicals and is poisonous to you, like GMOs. But there has been a shift, or an adjustment, or a refocusing, or a homing in, or thank you. More money has been put into food, and the mass production of food in a very detrimental way, which is why we began telling Soma about communities and growing food and having your own water supply, because we saw this coming. We saw this coming. There will be major changes in your supermarkets. You will see food that should not be food. All kinds of things. And that is just the start. That is just the beginning of things that you should not be eating, is what Soma is choosing how to say it. And there are, thank you, there are codes within your DNA that can largely bypass these products. That are detrimental to you. And you will need to increase your energy in order, thank you, you will need to increase your energies in order to maintain an equilibrium within these codes and DNA, within the DNA. You will need to work on your energies to balance the negative energies, the negative agendas that is using food to target you. Toxins and chemicals and poisons are a way of the negative agenda to target you, whether you are starseeds or not. Starseeds are more targeted than earthly humans, we will call them, who do not have the same DNA and same codes as you do. And we thank you, Marion, for working on Soma this evening, so that, and she thanks you, so that she is able to connect with us, to channel us. The way she has been targeted lately has changed slightly. Meaning that she has been targeted lately, as she is evidently aware of in her relationship, but she is normally she is more aware of these energies, but these energies have been more subtle, more in the background, where she can feel them. But not as clearly. She is not able to pinpoint exactly who or where or when or why or how. And this is also true for many others of you, which is why we are mentioning it. The targeting has become more homing in, using technology in a negative way. It is crucial. You are at a critical time where food has now become a major target. You will begin to see from now on an increase, a dramatic increase. And some of you will be horrified at the products that you will begin to see appear in your supermarket, on the supermarket shelves, one after the other, after the other, after the other. It has already begun. As we were saying just now, this is why we were downloading so intensely to Soma regarding the food and growth of your own products, and having your own water, your own clean water supplies. Sometimes we do download information to Soma. She never really questions us. She allows us in, trusting enough more or less to say what we need to say. And then, not every time, but then down the road, maybe a year or 2 or 3, we will show her new information or more information, like we are now, regarding food. And she will understand the pieces of the puzzle, as you will, as other channelers do, where you are shown information, and then years later, or months later, or weeks later, or days later, after a period of time, we will show you information, not always, but we will show you information that you will understand why this was said regarding food in this instance, in this case, regarding food. Back to nature. We do not normally ask questions, but in this instance, we would like to ask a question. because we would like you to think about it. If your supermarket's closed tomorrow, for one reason or another, whether it was in a city or a town or a village or in the countryside, where would you get your food? Where would you go? Humanity has become so incredibly reliant, not just on big supermarkets, but big pharma. They have taken away your power that is in your hands to grow your own food. You live in a time that is impatient and wants everything now. But all of that now, fast food now, some of you even grow impatient in queues where you are queuing for fast food. And you become impatient because you think you are waiting 10 minutes too long or 20 minutes too long. But those foods are detrimental to you. So we ask the question, if your supermarket's closed tomorrow and you were not able to attain your food, where would you go? What would you do? This is a game of energy. By the negative agenda that uses advanced technology in a negative way. And it targets you in every aspect that it possibly can. Through food, through weather, through soil, through technology, through frequency. In all systems. We would, thank you, we would recommend, especially for those of you that have been targeted recently, we would recommend that you do, and we are speaking to people who will be listening to this in a future time. We know who you are. We love you. We are well aware of your energies. We would, thank you, we would recommend that you unplug your laptops. You turn off your phones completely. You take out your phone chargers. At least for 3 or 4 days. Those of you that are now having a particular spate of targeting or going through a difficult time in your relationships or being targeted. And Marion, we know that you are one of these people we are speaking of. Dennis does not always feel the truth of what Soma is saying when she sometimes speaks of her own targeting. And that is okay. He does not have to. He does not need to. But it would be good for Soma. It would be good for Marion. It would be good for those of you who will be listening to us in the future. And we know who you are, although Soma doesn't. But it would be, thank you, it would be good for you to and not impossible. It would be good for you to do a technology detox, because those energies do affect you. Those devices do affect you. Those technologies do affect you. And the technologies coming through those technologies that do target you, do affect you in a negative way. And you are aware of them most of the time. Now would be a good time for questions. Soma was unsure if she was going to be able to channel this evening. But thankfully, with some help, we are here. You know who you are.
Question from Michael. Is my present unfortunate indisposition for the last few days due to an attack?
We would say yes. But not in the way that you think of it. We would say that you have been under more stress than normal lately, and that you have been targeted for a long time. But we would say that your stressful situation at present we are showing Soma an image of a seesaw where normally you are here, but with your stress and your situation at the moment, your energy is here. So the attack is more able to penetrate you or your energy, whereas normally it wouldn't. Are you seeing this image that she is?
Yes.
Oh, those of you that you love also get targeted. Sometimes those energies work through people. Very often they work through people. But sometimes they work through people that you're in relationship with. We do not think this of you, Michael, but rather we would say, those of you, those that you love, Michael, that you live with, we would, thank you, we would say that her health is absolutely being targeted or has been targeted because of who you are, because of your energy.
Yes.
When you are who you are on a soul level and a starseed, you are the main target, but those around you, those in relationship with you, are also targets or can become targets once they are known.
Yes, I understand.
Earth is not an easy place to be.
Will we all survive this, I wonder?
No one gets out of this alive. But this is Ascension. And it is essential that each and every one of you on this planet is here now. And we do not exclude the negative agenda. In fact, we include them in saying that each and every one of you that are on this planet now needs to be here. It is, Soma does not like the word cleansing because that has negative connotations, or can have, or can be perceived as being negative in itself. But it is a clearing. You are in times of ascension, and each of you are essential to be here now on earth, including the negative ones amongst you, the negative agendas who have ignited your essence, who have raised your consciousness, who have put fire in your bellies and given you stronger voices than you had before. Thank you. Yes. Who have given you momentum, who have ignited you, who have put microphones in your hands to speak out and say, this is not okay. Yes. Not on my watch. So there is a positive aspect, elements that are positive in the negative agenda. For without them, your consciousness would not be raising. You would not be an ascension, which is essential, not just for planet Earth. Ascension, as we have said many times before, is not contained to planet Earth. It has far-reaching effects. And manifestations as well. We and Soma choose our words wisely. And manifestations is a perfect word.
But will we live to see the change to lighter frequencies, or the dark agendas surrendering?
Some of you will. Some of those like you will live to be a very old age that will see huge changes and leaps forward in your lifetime. And it may even be only when you look back on your lifetime that you will see all the changes. Those of you who will not live as long, into their 90s, Marion, will not see such leaps forward or evolutions or changes. But those of you who will live long enough into your 90s, who are now in their 40s or 50s, you will see changes. You will see changes.
That's good to hear.
Ascension will take time. It is a process that with each new generation that is being born now, we have spoken of these new children that did not stop with the indigos or the crystals or the rainbows. They continued again and again and again until you have the new generation that is being born as we speak, that have an increased awareness, an increased consciousness, an expansion, an awareness, a consciousness that has not been seen on your planet for decades. These children are being born. There are many of you. There are some of you. There are quite a few of you. That will not live, thank you, that will not live to an old age. But that is okay too. It may be that your energies or your soul is better of better use somewhere else, or is more needed somewhere else, or is simply not able to cope with life on earth because it is too difficult. Many of you will check out over the next 10, 20, 30 years. We don't like giving certainties. We don't like giving guarantees, or rather Soma doesn't. But many of you will check out, will pass away over the next 10, 20, 30 years from today. Do not see this as a negative thing or life ending too soon. Because that doesn't happen in truth. When there is an ending, there is a beginning, perhaps somewhere else, on a different planet or a different star system, or maybe even with us. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
Do you have an idea of when they will surrender?
We assume you are speaking of the negative agenda.
Yes.
There will be, appearances. Thank you. There will be appearances of them surrendering. And this will be a tactic that they will use. They will begin to use more and more and more, where they appear to be surrendering, and they are not. They will be showing a false play or story with you, with humanity. You will see stories come to light with what you are speaking about surrender, where they will show themselves to be surrendering and they are not, or they will show themselves to be backing down or retreating or withdrawing. And we are speaking of certain events to come on your earth that are political. Your question was, will they ever surrender?
Yes.
We would say, no, not in the way that you would expect, or not in the way that you think of surrender. Rather, this is a battle of a spiritual war, and this is the last battle that will take a while. We would say no, they would not surrender in the way that you think of surrender and retreat and withdrawing. Rather, what is happening, what will need to happen, what is happening, what will happen, is that as your light grows on earth, as humanity's consciousness and awareness develops and evolves, the light will become stronger and the dark will start to diminish. And that will increase and become more and more and more. And there will be more of a divide, and there will be less darkness, less evolved soul, less souls, less reptilian energy, and more of a higher consciousness, more evolved beings coming in and being born again and again and again into more generations, a widespread of consciousness being born into your planet that is just spread, which is part of who these new children are. There are beings coming to your planet that are being born, light beings, souls that are so evolved, being born into human bodies as we speak. This is how you win the battle between light and dark. The light is growing, it is expanding, not only in each of you as starseeds, but also earthly humans, but also you are being watched, you are being assisted. There are tremendous souls being born on your planet, on your earth, as we speak, quite literally. And this expansion is to do with ascension. It is ascension. There are beings coming into your planet that are filling your earth, your consciousness, your awareness with light by their very presence of being on earth, especially for those people living in that vicinity where these souls are being born, because energy is felt, not always seen, but always felt, not always conscious, but always there. It is not really about the negative retreating or withdrawing or giving up or putting down their weapons. It is more about a shifting in humanity's consciousness that gets to a point that it evolves to such a higher state and a higher state and higher state and higher state. You are in a process of evolution, of ascension, where humanity will get to a state where the we would say you were here at the moment, or here, with the negative energies, the negative agenda, and the positive agenda, or the positive energies. This space in between you will grow and grow and grow and grow, because you are different energies. You are not alike. You are not the same. Or at least that is how we are describing it in this moment. You are different. You are different to reptilian energy. That is how we are choosing how we can best explain to you through Soma in this moment. You are different. You are not the same. There is light and there is dark. But the distance between the light and the dark is growing rapidly. The more, thank you, the more the dark diminishes, thank you. The more the dark diminishes, the more the light grows. The more the dark diminishes, the more the light grows. And the more the light grows, the more the dark diminishes. We are showing Soma a symbol of the yin and yang within this. But then we are also showing her how these two sides divide, and one ascends and one doesn't. That is how we are showing you now. That is how we can best describe it to you now and to Soma. Sometimes, thank you, sometimes it is important for us to go into things in more detail rather than a yes or no reply. We like to explain things. We like to understand. We will end this session for this evening. And we thank you for being here with us, for listening, for sharing, for growing, for learning, for teaching us, for sharing with us. You are divine beings that have had many lifetimes, and some of you are aware of some of those lifetimes. We look forward to connecting again and meeting. This is a journey that we are both on, all of us here, present now, and those in the future. Work on your message. Sorry, Soma, let us rephrase that. Work on your energy. That is the most important message that we have this evening. Work on your energy. Increase, enhance, up your healing, your protection. Look at the food you are eating, ingesting. Look at your water. Look at other ways. As we said earlier, what would you do if your supermarket's closed tomorrow? For whatever reason, whether it was a local reason or a national reason or an international reason. It could be a multitude of things that could bring about a closure of a supermarket. And not just one, but several. And not just several, but hundreds. Nationally, internationally. What would you do if your supermarket closed? Where would you go? Thank you. For listening to us.
Thank you. I am most grateful to you.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Very good.
And the Pleiades.
I'm going to speak a little of what we're going to see. Ascension has begun. That is not something that we have to wait for. And each of you here are part of that. And when you leave this body, you will choose another body in another place and probably on this rock, and you will continue with that process. But it has begun. And the light is increasing. Evil is not increasing, but we are going to see more evil. And it is not because evil is increasing. We will see more evil because it is being uncovered. So it's very important for us to be able to see the light and to support it. Because right now, the third and fifth dimensions are here. And the fifth dimension will grow and increase. Dolores Cannon, what a wonderful soul. I admire her greatly, but she gave some confusing messages with regards to this new earth coming. Well, there is a new earth coming and we're sitting on it and standing on it. And when we use our eyes or when we use our hearts, we can connect to that fifth dimension and be part of it, and we can see it. And it's very evidenced by young souls that are coming into this planet who are very connected to that. But the third dimension, which has been very controlled and corrupted by a minority and has very anti-human programs, it will take a while for them to clear out. But the message here, and it's an important one, is Ascension has begun and you are part of it. It's not something we have to wait for. And the increase of the light has begun and it will continue. And, you know, whenever we depart for the next part of our mission, when we look, we will see that difference because it is happening.
Beautiful. would anyone like to say anything before I stop the recording? Because I don't, I'm not going to end the session. I'm just going to end the recording. So would anyone like to, I think that what Dennis was saying was really important there, because, and I also totally agree with him, even like that's not what they were saying in the channeling. They were saying that the light is just going to increase and the dark will get less.
Yes, of course.
But that's in terms of energy, but also in terms of physicalness. So there will be more, especially with the children that they were talking about being born, where there will be more, there will be a time on Earth when there is more light than dark physical beings. So more, you know, less reptilians, which are running all the systems on Earth, in my understanding. But yes, Dennis is absolutely right. There isn't more darkness on Earth. It's just that things are crumbling, are burning, are falling away, are being exposed, where horrendous things are being exposed, like child trafficking and human trafficking and all of that. And that's not even to go into the adrenochrome and just horrendous stuff is being exposed. And I think that's probably always been there since we got overtaken by negative ET energies, because that kind of goes hand in hand. And just horrendous stuff that I don't even want to get into, like baby sacrificing babies. And I actually had a lifetime where I was sacrificed, which I'm not going to go into now, but I was a baby and I was in a very cold country. Well, it was cold at night, but warm, very hot in the day. So it was some kind of desert environment. And that was very much to do with the Catholic Church. But maybe I'll talk about that more next week. That lifetime that I had, where I was sacrificed as a baby, and there was hundreds of babies in the church with me. I wasn't alone. Sorry, Dennis, I'm kind of going on a bit of a ramble there, or a rant. So yeah, it's not that not that Earth has got any worse than it's been. Especially when you think of the Dark Ages and the horrendous things we used to do to each other. But it's more that things are coming to the light. You know, things are. We're seeing things that we're tremendously shocked by and horrified by, but they've been happening for they've been happening since the negative agenda got control of this planet. So
particularly when one looks at this planet and the billions, not millions, billions who are in poverty and deprived of basic needs for survival, food and water. And there has been some misunderstandings and lack of awareness in the collective to think that that was, you know, God's will or misfortune or bad luck or poor management. It's none of those things. It is all planned and created. So, you know, where we are today, we see evil. It is not new. It is not greater, but it is being seen more.
but wouldn't you say And I'm sure that people listening in the future will watch this and say, how could she say that? How could she say that? But wouldn't you say that that is karma from a previous lifetime?
Well, that's an interesting question. The whole karma thing has been hijacked. So the afterlife cycle for a long time here has been controlled. So souls aren't going back to source after here. And the judgment that happens to people, people are making it on themselves with separation from the love of source and God. And so guilting themselves with blame, shame, regret, and then sentencing themselves to more suffering that they don't need. And that process has been, it's been booby-trapped to be that way. So much, it's like a soul trick going on. So much of this karma, there's just misunderstanding in it, and there's a lack of love, and it doesn't need to be that way. So souls can learn their lessons without suffering, and they can learn it with love.
I hear you. Anything else? Anything else, darling?
Well, this truly has been a prison planet, and the gates have already opened on it. So when people pass, they will be coming here by choice, and in the process will be reconnecting with source, so as they have full understanding and comprehension and connection to all love and all knowledge and all forgiveness, and will be choosing to come back here truly empowered.
Oh. Just for me, can you say that again?
I'm saying that this has been for a long while a prison planet.
Yeah.
That souls were trapped here, memory wipes happen, and then the soul separated and not being able to connect with its home of source or God is left in this kind of false universe where they end up just judging themselves without being connected to love, and so they repeat patterns of lack and guilt and pain. And what has happened is we are in a new time. Ascension has begun. The portals to this planet have opened. So when people pass now, they won't be subjected to these processing plants, and will be able to go home and integrate with source, and there to become fully connected and filled with knowledge, with love, with forgiveness, and be able to come back in fully connected to their God essence. So
Thank you, Dennis. Would anyone like to say anything before I stop the recording? I'm not stopping the group, I'm just stopping the recording. So would anyone like to say anything before I do that? Anyone?
well, you can end the recording and people have freedom to share something there.
Okay, I'll do that, so.